Let's dive into a world of exciting facts on Fact Feast.
Tēnā kātou, tēnā kātou, tēnā kātou katoa. Nuna pau taku whenua tūpana, ko mātipustra taku moanga, ko seti taku awa, ko otipoti taku kāinga noho, ko mau kaegil te moanga, ko li te awa, ko Aotearoa taku kāinga rua. Nau reira, tēnā kātou, tēnā kātou, tēnā kātou katoa. Hello and welcome back, my fantastic Fact Feast fans, to another truly astonishing episode of Fact Feast with me, Ajax. This fortnight, you guys are gonna guess the topic for me. And I know you might be wondering, but how are we gonna do it? We don't know a single thing. Well, not now, but you will, because I'm going to tell you guys some clues. And don't worry, the clues are very helpful. So let's get going. The first clue is that this topic is a public holiday. Can you guess what it might be? Well, I'm sure you probably haven't gotten it right, but if you have, well, good job. But the one thing I don't know is I don't know how you've gotten it right, because I don't know if you've gotten it right. But let's just keep on going. So the next clue is this public holiday / topic is actually happening next week. So it's coming up. And now I think you've gotten it, but if you still haven't, there's one more clue. And the last clue is that this topic is famous for red flowers. And no, I'm not talking about roses, I'm talking about poppies. So yeah, let's get going. I definitely didn't tell you anything there. So no matter if you've guessed it right or if you haven't, the topic was Anzac Day. Yes, Anzac Day. Well, congrats on you if you've gotten it right, but don't worry if you haven't, because today our topic is Anzac Day, as you know that. And I'm going to explain to you about Anzac Day, what it is, when it is, how it is, all of those things. Well, let's just start off by me telling you that Anzac Day is mainly a special day to New Zealand and Australia. I'll tell you why in a bit. Because it marks a huge military action fought by the New Zealanders and Australians. That's the reason. And that's. But let me tell you what Anzac stands for. And why I'm going to be telling you is because, no, it's not just like a word. Like, well, I mean, and is for connecting two words. It's not something like that. It's like what something stands for. Like, just LOL stands for laugh out loud. Anzac stands for something like that. And Anzac stands for Australia and New Zealand Army Corps. Bet you didn't know that. So let's carry on. And why it is Australian and New Zealand Army Corps? Well, it was a group of people, young people, and they were soldiers. Yep, they trained a lot, and they were soldiers. And they made up this group called the Anzacs, which were the Australians and the New Zealanders combining to make a group. Why they made a group was because they were going to help Britain to take over not a city, not a town, but a place called Gallipoli in European Turkey. And they did this during World War I. And I bet you know a lot of things about World War I, as in it was the first World War, and also that like it was about wars, men fighting and other people, but I bet you didn't know when World War I was from. World War I was from 1914 to 1918. Yep, that was such a long period, 4 years. Wow. And so that's a fact, to be honest. And you might want to remember that, because that might come up in a pop quiz or something. And And let's keep going. And now I'm going to tell you this story sort of thing. So what I'm going to tell you is what happened. Like, how did it happen? So I told you the part where Anzacs were a group of New Zealanders and Australians. Well, yes, they were. But this is how it began. So a long time ago, young people of Australia and New Zealand got called up to the war. They were called up to being soldiers. And well, yeah, most of them accepted it. They trained hard to become soldiers of New Zealand. So this is how they fought for us. Australia and New Zealand, as I told you, were nicknamed the Anzacs. So I'll tell you that those were the Anzacs. So the Anzacs travelled by boat for a long time till they finally reached European Turkey, Gallipoli. And while I'm telling you about Gallipoli, let me just tell you that you might have been thinking that Gallipoli is a town or a city, but no, it's actually not. Gallipoli is just a place in a town called Troy. So you might want to remember that. So yeah, after they reached Gallipoli, soldiers had to get out of the boat because of the hissing and the wiring of bombs, the loud bashes and clashes and hisses of the guns. So most soldiers swam to, land, and then they hid behind rocks and big boulders to get safe. But some died while they were coming out of the boat. Because remember, back then, you didn't have a modern cruise ship like that could carry all of the Anzacs. So they travelled in small, rickety wooden boats till they finally reached European Turkey. And after they reached, as I told you, it was hard to get off, but lots survived. Days passed, not even days, months passed, until there were lots of people dead, some still fighting, and the best thing you could have heard was the flies buzzing and buzzing. It was really annoying, I can tell. And they fought for us. And at last, 8 months later, they said, Britain said, no, we have to leave. Because plan didn't go as thought, and lots of people died, which was including 2,779 New Zealand soldiers. That's just so much soldiers lost during World War One. And remember, there was World War Two as well. But let's not talk about World War Two. So after 8 months, they went back to their places. Some with a leg or arm missing. Some dead. I wonder how the families of them thought. First, they might have been thinking, oh, this is so exciting. But later, when they heard the bad news, they were sad as ever. And before that, they were probably anxious. And I'm just wondering, maybe some soldiers died till they were going to European Turkey, like on the boat, because as I told you, the boats were small, rickety wooden boats, and I'm guessing the storms were big, thunder crashing, lightning. There was no shelter. It's just hard to imagine what they would be thinking. They're gonna miss their family, because for them, family was the big thing, because they were going on a big mission. But I feel just happy for the soldiers who came back, and I think that joy in themselves, I mean, they might have lost friends, but the joy in returning would be so glorious. But again, a lot didn't return. and that was including 2,779 soldiers of New Zealand. And before I tell you anything, let me just tell you, do you know what the soldiers may have eaten? Because I know, hunger, you could have died of starvation. So they had to have some food, but I mean, they couldn't carry food like apples or banana that would go bad in 2 or 3 days. They should have something like canned things maybe that could last a little more time, like fish maybe. But I think again they may have stopped a few times to do some fishing, but I'm not sure. And I think they probably just took canned food or something like that, because as I told you, apples, bananas would only last a few days or maybe just a week. So yeah. And for us, when parents give us treats, it would probably be like birthday cakes, cupcakes, or something chocolatey or delicious, or even ice cream. But back then, they couldn't take ice cream that would just go away in like half an hour. They had to take some things that would last a few weeks, yeah. And their treat was mainly these biscuits, which are now called the Anzac biscuits. And here's a fun fact. Anzac biscuits were actually square. They weren't circle. And I don't know why they were square, but I know they certainly weren't circle. But now people make them circle, so I guess they're kind of missing the point that it was square, and squares are more unique than circles on cookies, because lots of cookies are rectangular or even circleish or ovalish. Is that even a word? But let's carry on. And they're not square, but yeah. So again, and by the way, Anzac biscuits are tasty, so you should try some. You should try making them. You should try making them also, because it's so yummy if you make them yourself and eat them yourself. That's just a heads up telling you. And also, I would like to tell you guys that daylight saving is finally here. And before I tell you a little more about daylight saving, you're currently listening to Fact Beast. This program runs every fortnight, Friday 3:30 to 4 p.m. on ORFM 105.4. In today's program, I'm currently talking about Anzac Day, and so far it's been so interesting. So just clench on, don't go off, just a little more time. Okay, now, as I was telling you about daylight saving is finally here. So you guys should just get up earlier in the morning, 6:30, when the light is just coming on, and you have more daylight than usual to get that wonderful weather. Apart from when it's raining. So you should get out, do a morning walk or something like that, do some stretches, get ready for school or college, whatever you have. If not, just get ready for work. And as it's the school holidays, it should be easier to get up so you can do more fun stuff. And that's that. But a little more things I'd like to say is that it gets dark quickly as well. So, as I said, make the most of the holiday daylight saving. So yeah, and let's get back to our interesting story of Anzac Day. So as I was telling you about Anzac biscuits, well, I told you how they were square and all, and now let me tell you about poppies. Yup. When I said red flowers before, I didn't say anything after. I may have said it was poppies, but I was definitely not talking about roses, because they don't really have that much things to do about with Christmas. with Anzac Day, but poppies are a big sign. They're a significant sign of Anzac Day. And why? Well, that's a very nice question, and let me tell you why. It's because after the nasty wars and battlefields, there grew nothing, absolutely nothing, with the dry soil, nothing there, not even grass, just weed. There was only one flower that grew. And can you guess what flower it might have been? Well, yes, it was the poppy. The poppy was the only flower that grew. And that's why poppy is like a big mark for Anzac Day. And also you might think of Anzac Day because of Anzac biscuits, but apart from Anzac biscuits. So that's why poppies are like a really big sign for Anzac Day. And now let me tell you about poppies. Like these days you might see people selling poppies and you might think that's ridiculous, it's a waste of money. But no, it's actually not a waste of money. That money is donated to charity, or it's given to soldiers and their families who fought for us. That's why poppies are sold these days. And as I told you, it's not for just unnecessary reason. It's for a necessary reason. And you might be seeing people wearing these knitted poppies or something on their chest. And also it's for good reasons as well. So that is actually a sign of respect to the soldiers who fought for us during Anzac Day. And nowadays, I think there's lots of poppy factories that make those. Whereas back in the day, there weren't many things like the poppy factory. And by the way, Fact Beast fans, I'm now on YouTube as well, where you could listen to me with photos. And this, you might want to know my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel name is Sheik Banstola, but you could just type up Fact Beast. And so, yeah, while you're there, don't forget to like and subscribe. And also leave a comment if you like. In Anzac Day, what things do we do? That's another topic, and let me tell you some things. We do dawn services and some lots of speeches, not some, and also a march, and there are also parades. So there are a lot of things. So Anzac Day this year is going to be full. So if you want to go do some of those things, go do them. Enjoy it. And also, what was I going to say? Oh, I was going to tell you about this very important award that is given to the award. As I said, is really important, and it's given to a very brave soldier every year. Yes. And by the way, do you know how many these awards New Zealand has won? I'll tell you, but sorry, I haven't even told you the name. The name is VC, which stands for Victoria Cross. The Queen gives out this award, I think, every year. And before I tell you the latest, everyone has mainly won it once, apart from one soldier that I think stands out, and his name is Charles Upham. Yes, he has won it twice. And like I told you, this award is mainly for bravery. Yep, you heard it right, bravery. And when I'm talking about bravery, let me tell you the latest award that was given out. And it was to Peter Williams for rescuing a captain on the, that was firing up. And when I mean firing up, flames on him. And this was during the Africa World War. So during the Africa World War, Peter Williams, also known as Bill, actually got awarded this because of saving a captain that was under fire. Oh my God, that's the show. That's the sign of bravery. Did you just hear what I said? That's what I mean. And let me just tell you this fact. More of these Victoria Crosses have been awarded in the World War One rather than the World War Two. So yeah, just keep that in mind. And I told you before that the Anzacs might have gotten bored, and what they would do, I'm sure they would talk, but as in their family would often send them letters with Anzac biscuits, maybe, to just remind them of their family. So that's also how it worked. And before I forget, I actually got a poem, a verse of a poem that was written by Lawrence Bignon, and the poem is so spectacular. If you want to check it out full, you should Google it on Google, and the name is actually For the Fallen. One of the verses goes like this: They shall not grow old as we that are left old. Age shall not weary them, nor the eyes condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. It is such a spectacular poem that you guys have to check it out. So go check it out after my episode, of course. But that's mainly it. But I would just like to give you a quiz because I said some very important things in there, and I don't want you to forget because Anzac Day is coming up. In schools, teachers might be asking these questions, and so I would just want to make you ready. So I told you where the Anzacs fought, but do you still remember where? Let me give you a clue. It was in European Turkey. Can you remember the place? Oh, did you say Gallipoli? Well, that's right. And where is Gallipoli? Because you know that Gallipoli isn't a city or a town. You might be having some trouble remembering, but if you got this right, you're amazing at remembering. It was in Troy. And one more clue. How many New Zealand soldiers were lost during the fight against Turkey? Oh, just wrong. I think you said 2,551, but no, it was 2,779. And last two more questions. What shape are Anzac biscuits? Yes, they're square. I almost caught you out there. And last question, what have I also got my podcast on now? Yup, YouTube. Like I said, I'll tell you once more. I've actually got a YouTube channel now. It's called Ashik Banstola. You could type that up, or you could just type up Fact Beast and it'll come up. So good luck listening to my episodes there as well, and I hope you don't miss out on them. And that was it. But miss the awesome, adventurous episode of me with Fact Beast? Well, if you've missed it out, well, go listen in on YouTube if you want, or even Spotify, Google Podcast, or Apple Podcast. These thrilling episodes, gotta make sure you're tuned, so go check them all out. And lastly, I'd like to give a huge thanks to you guys, my audiences, and also give a huge thanks to ORFM community to help me, and also my family, my mum, and my nan being my audience at home while I was practicing, my dad helping me do the program, giving me some advice. And I've got one last thing to say. I've made an episode that was about Maori gods and heroes, and that was written by the amazing author Gavin Bishop. And I'd like to give him a huge thanks to for making that book, because it was spectacular and I could make a program on it. And he has actually written me a letter and given me some books. So again, I'd like to give you a huge thank you if you're listening to my episode right now. But other than that, I'd like to give a huge thanks to you audiences and also the Orifim community and my family. Episode's over. Peace.
Thanks for listening to Fact Feast on Youth Zone.